You do not have to be diabetic or even pre-diabetic to be insulin resistant. You can have some normal blood markers, like you could have a normal A1C, you could wear a size 6, and you could still be storing fat, crashing in the afternoon, and waking up bloated because your insulin is high behind the scenes. Welcome to the Glucose Diaries, where midlife meets metabolic magic. I'm Stephanie, and after 20 plus years of trial and error, I finally cracked the code on blood sugar, hormones, and fat loss. And now I'm sharing everything I've learned with you. Because here's the wild part. 9 out of 10 adults in the US are metabolically unhealthy, and most have no idea. This podcast is here to change that, with real talk, no fluff, and zero gatekeeping. Each episode is short, practical, and packed with real-life examples to help you understand what's actually going on inside your body and what you can do about it one step at a time. Please note, this show is for educational purposes only and is not medical advice. Always consult your healthcare provider before making any changes to your wellness routine. Now let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to the Glucose Diaries. I'm Stephanie, and if you've been eating less, working out more, and still gaining weight or feeling stuck, this episode is for you. Today, we're talking all about insulin resistance, what it is, how it starts, and why it matters way before you even hear the words pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetes. This is the hidden hormone issue that affects your cravings, fat storage, energy, and metabolism. And by the end of this episode, you'll know exactly what to do about it. So let's start at the beginning with what is insulin and where does it even come from? Okay, so insulin is a hormone made by an organ called your pancreas. I'm sure we've all heard of that before. It's a small organ that sits right behind your stomach. Its job is simple. When you eat, especially carbs and sugar, your blood sugar rises and your pancreas releases insulin to help pull that sugar out of your bloodstream and deposit it into your cells to be used as energy. That way, your blood sugar doesn't stay dangerously high. So think of insulin like an Uber driver. Its job is to pick up sugar from your bloodstream and drop it off at different locations. The first stop is your liver and then your muscles, where in both places, glucose gets stored as something called glycogen. But once those storage tanks are full, insulin's like, all right, I got to drop this sugar off somewhere. And where do you think it goes? It goes straight to fat storage. Yes, that's right. Fat storage. So if your body's constantly calling for insulin from lots and lots of sugar, frequent meals, or processed carbs, your fat storage system stays turned on like 24/7. And when insulin is present, your body is in storage mode, not fat burning mode. Let me say that again. Insulin is a storage hormone. So when it is present in the body, your body is being told to store everything, not burn anything. That's how you can be in a calorie deficit and still be holding on to fat. Okay. So over time, your cells can get overwhelmed because if insulin is constantly knocking at the door trying to drop off glucose, your cells eventually stop paying attention. It's kind of like when have you ever gotten on a group text and the first like 5 or 10 messages, everyone's kind of active and responding to, but then after like an hour and the notifications keep dinging your phone, you start to just tune them out and what I call tone deaf. This is what insulin resistance is in your body. Your cells become resistant to the insulin that's trying to get the glucose into the cells. And then what happens is the sugar in your bloodstream continues to rise. Your pancreas keeps freaking out because it's got to maintain a certain amount of sugar in your bloodstream. It continues to produce more insulin, i.e. Uber drivers, and the Uber drivers can't get into your cells. So now we have a traffic jam in the bloodstream with high glucose, i.e. sugar, and high insulin. So your body continues to make more and more insulin just to get the same job done, and that leads to metabolic dysfunction. The longer this goes on and the higher your insulin and the more fat your body stores, even if your blood sugar on labs still looks quote unquote normal. So here's the part that nobody tells you. You do not have to be diabetic or even pre-diabetic to be insulin resistant. You can have some normal blood markers, like you could have a normal A1C, you could wear a size 6, and you could still be storing fat, crashing in the afternoon, and waking up bloated because your insulin is high behind the scenes. One study showed that 93% of US adults have at least one marker of metabolic dysfunction. So guys, this isn't rare. It's almost everyone. So we need to figure out how to play a different game because we are all set up for this. So let's make this practical. If we want to start reversing insulin resistance, here are 3 things that we can do right now. Number 1, eat more protein. I know you've probably heard this. It's kind of the buzzword right now. Eggs are going up. They're like tripling in what they're selling and stuff. But it's true. We've got to eat more protein, especially at our first meal. We need to aim for at least 30 grams or more to stabilize our blood sugar and reduce cravings. The second thing we can do immediately, and this is free, is we can walk after meals. A 10-minute walk helps use up glucose before it gets stored. If you can't go on a walk or walk around your house, do like 25 to 30 air squats. I know that may sound like super trivial, but when you recruit the glutes and the leg muscles, those are the biggest muscles in your body, and they're going to soak up more glucose than if you just sit on the couch and watch TV. And the third thing we can do right now, and again, this is also free, is we can eat our food in the right order. And you may or may not have heard about this, but they have done studies that show that when you have your plate of food, if you eat the fiber first, so your veggies or salad, then you eat your protein or fat, and then you eat your carbs/sugar last, that can reduce your glucose spike by up to 75%. And we'll talk in future episodes about food order and how that works and why it works. But just trust me on that. If you have a plate of food, so like, let's say you have something that's all mixed up, like a hamburger, okay? Like I don't eat buns on hamburgers, but let's just say you did. Then theoretically, you'd start with the lettuce, the tomato, the onion, and the pickles. Then you would go for the cheese and the meat, which is probably going to be melted on there together. And then if you're going to eat the bun, eat the bun. Now, I know that sounds kind of dumb to do it that way, but concept-wise, that's how you would take apart a meal. By the time you get to the bun, you may not want it anyway, and that reduces your glucose spike by probably 99%, except unless you have like ketchup on the burger or something that's going to cause it to spike with the sugar. But I digress. So these are simple things you can do that you may not be aware of, but they add up so fast, especially when you do them at every meal. So now you know that insulin is made by your pancreas. It helps store sugar after meals, but when it's always present in your body stores fat and can't burn it. And when your cells stop responding, your body just makes more and more insulin until you're stuck in fat storage mode. Then you're feeling puffy, you're feeling tired and frustrated, even if your labs say you're fine. So if you want to know if this might be happening to you and you may be experiencing some insulin resistance, grab my free checklist, go to theglucosediaries.com/checklist, and you'll learn the most common signs of insulin resistance and what to do next. You're not broken. You're just stuck in fat storage mode. And now you know why, and now you know how to fix it. Thanks for tuning in to the Glucose Diaries. Follow the show, and I'll see you in the next episode. And that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Glucose Diaries. Make sure to follow the show so you never miss an episode. And if you got value from today's conversation, send it to a friend who may need to hear it too. And if you have a few seconds, it would mean the world to me if you would leave a quick review on whatever platform you're listening to this episode. It helps more women like you find this show and feel less alone on their wellness journey. You can find any links or resources mentioned today at theglucosediaries.com, and come say hey over on Instagram at theglucosediaries. I love connecting with you in the DMs. Until next time, remember, you are not alone, you are not broken, and you deserve to feel amazing.